Hey everyone, this is JadeDead, aka Figo from the gaming channel The Enablers. After seeing 37 Korean dramas, plus one short that is only 6 episodes long, I'm finally putting out my bottom 5 Korean dramas. My bottom 5 hasn't changed at all in a long time, but my bottom 10 has changed and I expect it to continue to change a lot. Also, my top 10, since I released my top 10 video, hasn't changed at all. You can see that video by going down to the link in the description. Whenever I watch a Korean drama, I'm grading it on very specific things that I'm looking for. I also have my own personal preferences when it comes to genre, plot, and the types of characters, especially the main characters. So when I dislike a drama, it may not be because it's technically a bad drama, but it may be more because of my own personal preferences. Warning, there's gonna be spoilers in this one. First up, at number 5 is Dakshapal, or Bridal Mask. This is a historical drama based on the time when Japan occupied Korea and tried to wipe out their entire culture. I like the premise of the show. It's really interesting, and the first few episodes as it gets going are well done. It keeps you interested, wanting to watch more. But I just felt that it was way too predictable. Like, I could predict everything that was going to happen from the very beginning. The storyline became very repetitive also. There's this hero, this mass vigilante called Dakshapal, and if someone's suspected of working with Dakshapal or being Dakshapal, then they'll call them in for questioning, which is torture. So this person will end up being tortured, and they'll either be killed while being tortured, or released, or they'll escape somehow, and then it'll repeat. It just keeps happening over and over and over again. They also did the thing with the female lead where she seems badass at first. Like, she can fight, and she has balls. But then, halfway through, I don't even think it was I think it was pretty early on, where they stopped really using the female lead. She was more just like this character in the background that was just, she was the connection between all the characters. And really, that's all the purpose that she had. This show also felt so long, like it dragged on and wouldn't end, and I wanted to drop it so bad, but I felt like I would have wasted so much time if I dropped it. No, I've been through this journey so far, I have to see how it ends. They could have cut at least 5 episodes off, would have been a lot better. But overall, not a horrible drama. It had a lot of action in it. I liked the premise of the show, but it just got too slow and repetitive. Number 4 is Personal Taste. And I don't know why I immediately get grossed out when I think of this drama. I think it has something to do with the ending. And maybe that scene that scene in the beginning, oh my gosh. And this one is about a guy who pretends to be gay in order to move in with this chick so he can spy on her house, basically. Because he's an architect and he's entering a contest for architects. Yes, I know the plot sounds really boring, but the show is actually pretty boring too. Although I did like the best friends. They were cool. So one major thing that I grade a Korean drama on is the female lead strong? Or is she this really whiny, weak girl that follows the love interest around like a puppy? Now, the latter is the embodiment of Park Gae-in. She's super weak, but that's her character, so I figure, well, she must grow and get stronger by the end. Unfortunately, this is another area where I grade Korean dramas on. What is the end message? And the end message in this one is completely lost. The male lead may have a revelation and change a little bit, but the lead female, she learns nothing. She ends up exactly the way that she began. Ugh, it's horrible. I really hate the promotion of toxic relationships and dramas, and this is one of them. Lee Min-ho's character spends the whole time teaching her how to become more confident so she can get a guy who's actually a good guy. But then, at the end, she's basically like, oh, I don't care. Use me, abuse me, I don't care. I just want to have sex with you. I don't get it. But on a positive side, I did enjoy watching the friendships develop.
진짜 부럽다.
Number 3 is Doctors. This drama started off strong. First few episodes were great. The female lead, she can kick ass. She's cool. But unfortunately, I just couldn't get on board with the main love story. This one is about a troubled youth who ends up being really super smart. I know, cliche. So she is able to study and become this amazing surgeon. In the meantime, she falls in love with her high school teacher. They kind of have this thing, and it's kind of weird. And years later, they're reunited because they end up working at the same hospital together, and so their past romance can begin again. This show gets formulated pretty quickly, where each episode is a different case. Somebody comes in needing surgery, they have the issue, they work out the issue, and they pretty much complete the surgery successfully every time. So characters that are introduced in one episode, you're never gonna see again, unfortunately. The extra characters, the characters other than the doctors and the best friend, they have no purpose other than for the two main leads to perform surgery on them. Throughout the storyline, we're working towards this ultimate climax where there's this issue through this whole thing where it's gonna come to a head at this certain time at the end. And you're like, oh, this is where it's gonna get real, this is where the story is gonna change up a bit. No, it's the same. It's the same all the way through. Very anticlimactic. The lead male, he came across as this older guy trying to act hip and young, like he has a lot of energy. It just came across as if he was trying too hard to bridge the age gap between them, which I don't know if it was a big age gap to begin with. He started off as the teacher of the lead female, and so he has this air of like, I'm smarter, I'm more experienced, I'm better than you, and you have to listen to what I say. And I could never support their relationship. It was weird. It was too student-teachery. I don't like those kind of relationships, but if you do, this is the show for you, I guess. On a positive note, I did like the side characters and the stuff that they had going on with them, and I also liked the music throughout the show.
어차피 VIP는 우리한테 검색해도 안 나옵니다. 괜한 삽질하지 마시고요. 치킨이나 시켜 드세요.
너무 자식이 삽질? 유혜정이 디봐준다고 건방지게 아예 때리지도 않았어. 어서 헐리 리액션이야?
네.
자식이 저거 어떻게 저거?
Number 2. City Hunter. This is probably going to be the most controversial one that I have on the list because I know City Hunter is considered a classic. It's a lot like Healer, except Healer is done a million times better, so I call it Poor Man's Healer. I think this one ended up so low on my list because I had such high expectations. I decided to watch it because I was looking for roles that had strong female leads. And City Hunter was recommended in an article for having a strong female lead. But no. After Park Gae-in of Personal Taste, Kim Nana is the second worst female lead that I've seen so far. This drama is about corruption in the government. The government had sent this specialized task force on this super secret mission, but at the end of the mission, the government murdered its own people in order to keep that mission hidden. Then the son of one of the guys that was murdered grows up and is trained to fight so he can get revenge on these people in government. Kim Nana is a bodyguard for the president. But her big weakness is that she only knows one move, flipping someone over the shoulder, and that's the only move that they practice. They practice their fighting moves every day, but it's the same move over and over again. Basically, it's just an excuse to beat up on their male co-workers, but whatever. But basically, Kim Nana is one of those female leads that's just a lovesick puppy that follows the male lead around. Their chemistry is pretty bad too. I think Lee Min-ho's character and his best friend had a better chemistry going on. This is actually a show that I almost dropped. I'm glad I didn't because there was a pretty cool scene towards the end with Kim Nana. One thing I think this show gets right that Healer was lacking in was that the villains have a lot of character development too, so you understand who the villains are, you understand what they did in the past, who they are now, and why they need to be punished in the way that they are punished. So there's a greater sense of accomplishment when revenge is taken out on each villain one at a time.
또 좀. 잠이 와? 이 중요한 대목에서? 어? 너처럼 거칠게 사는 애들은 이런 책으로 정신을 세탁해야 된다고 내가 몇 번을 말했어. 어? 나도 윤성이 일 나가고 마음이 불안하고 싱숭생숭할 때마다 이 책을 읽으면서 또 째려본다. 눈!
Number 1. The Girl Who Sees Smells. This is another show that I had high hopes for and was sorely disappointed. I actually liked the plot and the premise of the show with the kind of superpowers in a way that each character has. They could have done so much with it, but the writing is so disorganized and crazy. It's like the writers didn't know what genre they wanted to make the drama. They're like, should it be a romance? Should it be a mystery? Should it be a crime drama? Or should it be a cooking show? Or should it be a comedy? Just pick a genre and stick with it, please. So instead of trying to figure out what to really do with this show, I guess the writers just decided have them eat a lot of food together. That makes for great relationship building. Every other scene, I'm hungry, let's go get food. How are these guys not gaining weight? I think that's the real superpower here, is their freakishly high metabolisms. Another thing about it was the horrible chemistry between the two leads. When it started turning into more of a romance, whenever they would kiss or go to kiss, the girl in particular really looked like she did not want to kiss him. It was the most cringy kissing scenes that I've ever seen in a Korean drama. This drama also tried to be a comedy as well, but the comedy in it just came across as cringy to me. It wasn't my kind of humor. But if you pay attention to the subtle humor going on in the background, that actually made me laugh. On a positive note, I really like the villain in this show. It's one of my favorite villains. He's pretty interesting, and he's basically the only reason I didn't drop the show altogether. The show also has some cute songs on the OST. Okay, so some of those dramas I was on the verge of dropping, but there are some dramas that I actually did drop. Vampire Prosecutor. It was really boring. I didn't like the male lead. And when I heard that Call of Duty song playing at the club, I was just like, okay, that's enough of this. Iris. I didn't like the female lead or the male lead, and I didn't like how quickly they fell in love. And I wasn't too into the plot either. Descendants of the Sun. Same problem, didn't like the male lead or the female lead, and they fell in love in the very first episode, the first time they meet. Lame. Alright, that's it for my bottom 5. Remember, that's only out of the 37 Korean dramas that I've seen so far. I'm sure there's gonna be some changes in the future.